Amazing kid is making his waves in the world of jazz at 16 years old, and his passion is sounding out through playing the tenor saxophone. Here with more on his musical career is Ayo. Ayo, thanks so much for joining us here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. So, like many of our viewers, I actually had the question, and I'd like for you to discuss this so our viewers can understand. What is the difference between a tenor saxophonist and other saxophonists?
Well, for me, tenor saxophone is my favorite. Most of my idols play it, like my teacher. And alto saxophone is just a higher saxophone for different genres, but I would prefer tenor because it's more jazz, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And when did you first get into the saxophone and realize that you wanted to be in music?
During COVID, when I was experimenting with different instruments.
Oh, wow. So during COVID, which was only a few years ago, that's when you first began playing the saxophone?
Right.
And can you tell me about that process of having to learn? Did you do it on your own?
I had probably one of the most influential teachers in my life, Mr. Richard Howell.
Really?
But he walked me through what I needed to do to learn it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so once you expressed that this might be something I really want to get into, you had him kind of guide you, and from there, now it's been 3 years and you've taken off since then. So how would you say maybe your career as a saxophonist and just your skill set has grown in the past few years?
Well, I feel like I've been less scared to like be on stage and be in a public not figure, face, you know?
Yeah. So that has helped you kind of with that public presence and maybe even public speaking sometimes, because being in front of people oftentimes can be scary. Well, what are some of your accomplishments over the past few years? Some of the bands maybe you've been able to play for, and you just had a national tour. Can you tell me about these things?
Well, yeah, it was a 5-city tour, and it really taught me how I need to act like further down my career, like when I need to wake up, when I need to be in places, you know?
So it taught you, sounds like a little bit of responsibility on the business side of things.
Right.
But how did you get into jazz specifically?
Well, my dad, since I was little, well, actually when I was born, he was playing John Coltrane in the hospital. And that just stuck with me. Every time I was crying, he used to play it for me so I could calm down. And that, yeah.
And what instrument does your dad play?
He doesn't play any instruments, I'm the only one.
But the song, so you're saying he played the song and that really inspired you to get into it.
Right.
So are you the only musician in your family right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and how does that feel for you you said you just started this during the pandemic.
Right.
3 years later, now that you're into it, how has this evolved for you emotionally as a musician?
Well, I feel like if I put in a lot more work, it's just amazing where I could go, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And where do you, when it comes to everyday practicing and writing and reading music, I know we were talking about this a little bit before, but what are the challenges maybe you faced being a new musician and having to learn how to read music, write music, and play it as well?
Well, you just have to put the work in. Like, oftentimes I found myself, like, mad at myself for not being able to read a sheet. But if you practice every day, you'll get there, you know?
And you know, practicing is such an important part, especially when it comes to instruments. So what does an everyday schedule look like for you and the saxophone?
Well, I go to Oakland School for the Arts, so every day for about 2 hours I'm playing my instrument.
At school?
At school.
But then when you come home, what's the difference in your routine?
Listening to music every day.
Really? So is that the biggest key factor in maybe helping you grow as a musician?
It is, definitely.
And what's it like being in a school full of students who are also so into music and the arts?
Well, whenever you're in a space where people care about the same things just as much as you do, it's always going to end out good, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. And who are some of the people you look up to when it comes to musicians and jazz musicians, specifically maybe saxophonists?
Well, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, of course, and my teacher, Richard Howell.
And you have an event coming up pretty soon. Can you give me the details on that? Because I'm sure so many people will love to support.
It's 7 to 10 at Jeffrey's Inner Circle on Thursday.
On Thursday, okay. And what exactly will you be doing? What can they expect? Paint us a picture.
You're going to expect a good show, you know?
Yeah. And what about from you?
From me? What do you mean?
Like from you, what can they expect from you as a tenor saxophonist?
Oh, you'll expect to see me grow, you know?
And, you know, now that you've grown in the past 3 years and you've really honed in on your skill set as a saxophonist, what is next for you? What are you hoping and dreaming of in the future as a musician?
I hope to make music. Like I said, my dad was playing John Coltrane, and what really inspires me is that if I'm able to make music, maybe my music is the one that's playing while another kid is being born.
Oh,
and my
that's
music is the one that calms down another kid.
Is that a dream of yours?
It is. Yeah.
That is so cool. I love that. I've never heard something like that. Well, I know that you're going to get there, and we're so excited to have you. And we're not going to let you go yet because you are going to perform for us. So, like I said, don't go anywhere. He's going to be performing live when we come back, everybody.